Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Mark Emilio, I know you are hoping and praying, probably sacrificing a pigeon in Central Park, hoping that gaslight of a nation that you tried to pull on a federal jury actually went off without a hitch. Baby, let me tell you something. Denny's team is shameless, just like him. I get it. I get it. He's paying multi-millions, and they don't care. They're willing to go in on all these victims, something they know they would never allow for themselves or anybody they loved, right? But they trying to tell us that just because people might be poor, might be desperate, might be broken, it's okay. They loved this man. They consented to it.
And no
Don't you
longer
know,
has a
they
voice
loved
who will
them.
pursue justice for
And
her
when you
accusation.
love somebody just like drinking
As of the
strawberry
taken
lemonade,
against Diddy,
and I
no
lied to you
expansion
not,
of the investigation,
he used the word
no
strawberry
isolation
lemonade.
orders, no equipment
Just like
access,
drinking strawberry
no
lemonade,
suspension
the
of
partner's
attorney
lights become
communication.
yours. And if you love them, you'll stay chained up in a hotel room, devoid of all agency, devoid of will to live, devoid of everything. But let me tell you something. This gaslight of a nation is not going to work. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, we need to pause. Diddy's narrative created this Diddy's team, created this narrative early on. They're intruding in his Smack's life. They are not. They created a narrative. They pushed the fourth narrative. And now at the closing, they circled back on that narrative, as if the government did not tell them exactly what the issue is. But never fear, because we are going to get into this. But first, let's talk about the strawberry lemonade mess. Okay, the fact that Diddy's lawyer is comparing Frios to drinking strawberry lemonade. That's where we are, that's the play. That's the spin. Not coercion, not control, not violence, just two consenting adults, sipping lemonade with a lineup of SMEX workers that you gotta do everything for up to 40 hours, going up to 40 days, with no protection, with painful UTI, and God knows what else. Yeah, strawberry lemonade. It's given, yeah, exactly what Mark Emilio said. Y'all don't get it, you don't get it. This was romantic, sir. You are in federal court, not an Usher interlude. Do you know Mark Emilio actually even had the nerve in closing arguments to compare these freak-offs, saying it was a vibe. Beautiful red light, Bryson Tiller, and Usher were playing in the background. It was romantic. Was it? It was so romantic then. Why don't you put somebody you love in that freak-off? If it's so romantic, why don't you sign up a woman or a man that you love to go into the Terror Dome with Sean Combs? But I guess you won't. Because I see that the same people that are offending Sean Combs literally saying, well, I don't want that to happen to me or anybody I love, but for everybody else is cool. Now, you guys, what we're watching is the last grasp of a defense strategy that's been shaky since the Trump Diddy's team came in hot, trying to make this about private sex acts between two adults. That was a narrative from the start. It was curated, it was polished, and it was broadcast like a bad PR reel, but the government never needed to make this about smacks. This was always about power, violence, threats, surveillance, bribery, burn cars, hospital IVs, after all night binges. You know, classics, and now the defense is floundering. They've run out of tricks, so they're doubling down on the one thing. Diddy still believes in himself. Let's be real. Okay, Diddy does not think he did anything wrong, and neither do his high-priced mercenaries, who took a bite of the gold and made it their mission to convince the jury and the public that what we're seeing just looks bad, that it's all being misunderstood. Again, you think Mark Emilio would be cool with this kind of lemonade. Love if this was his daughter involved, and this was his wife involved, if this was his friend involved, his niece, godchild. Please, this isn't advocacy. This is pageant. These are not lawyers seeking truth. They're men and women in suits trying to outfit a federal indictment. And yet somehow in the middle of all of this, they want you to believe it's just kinky romance that a woman running half naked through a hallway was part of some consensual lemonade date, baby. Here's the difference here.
Present.
Is the difference.
And no longer has a
Diddy
voice
still
who will
thinks he's
pursue
the main
justice for
character.
her accusation.
Still thinks loyalty can be
As of the
bought.
taken against Diddy.
Still thinks power
No
is the
expansion
same
of the
thing as
investigation.
love.
No
And his
isolation
team,
orders.
they're
No
just
equipment
here to catch the
access.
check and
No
keep the
suspension
curtain
of
falling.
attorney communication.
But you know what? You know who can really put this into focus? Let's take it back to the prosecutions. Because as much as the media, who is heavily, as much as the media, who is heavily pro-Diddy, keeps trying to change the subject, we're going to keep bringing it back. Listen to this. Again, this is directly from Maureen Comey. The defense theory is that Cassie wanted to be urinated on, that Jane wanted to have smacks with Anton directly after being beaten, and Mia wanted to be blinked. That Cassie and Jane wanted to spend days in oil with UTI in high heels, high out of their mind. Strange men ran trains on them. Mia said no, Cassie said no. On her 29th birthday, Jane said no. Before Anton, after being beaten. These women had no reason to lie. The defense says it's for the money. But Cassie had already gotten paid. If Cassie was lying and already got paid, why would she take the chance of perjury? On federal trial, this is a woman standing up for what is right. Mia already settled in mediation. There was no reason for her to put on a show here. Jane doesn't intend to sue these women. Refuse to let trauma swallow up their whole lives. That struggle tells you that these women told the truth. They broke free of Diddy's manipulation. Jealousy is not a defense to sex trafficking. Jane picking out Carbol or Anta was her way of taking back some control. Yes, she texted escorts sometimes, she told him. Sometimes she knew he would act. She felt she had no choice. That's coercion. The defendant did hit Cassie during free call-offs. Cassie said it, Daniel Phillip told you. And it's on video. The defendant was in a towel. The freak-off was not even over. There's no separating the violence from the smacks. Remember when Cassie OD'd in a hotel room in Long Island? And they still had a freak-off when Jane performed oral on Anton after he viciously beat her. That was trafficking, Mr. Anelio said. Cassie won a prize. What prize? Smacks of a UTI. Getting urinated on in her mouth. That's ridiculous. They had a trauma bond. They were trapped. The cost of trapping them was a drop in the bucket for Mr. Number 1 on the Forbes list. He pushed her to continue after she vomited. He knew she didn't want the Intercontinental. They claim he was intoxicated. That it was about a phone. He knew what he was doing. He kicks her violently, beats her, stomps her. She calls security, so he stays to keep control. I want to be clear. They called Anton because he was the only repeat player in LA. They stopped a cabal after he tried to extort Jane. Whatever words he used about a conspiracy between Jane and Anton. There's no evidence for that. He coerced Cassie and Jane into this and nothing happened. Braided Mia. And nothing happened. He beat Cassie and nothing happened. He beat Cassie in a hotel on tape, then bribed the guards to buy it. And nothing happened. He was untouchable. He did not think these women would speak, and that Kit Cudi and Dante Nash and other men would back them up, the defendant, not a god. He stands equal before the law. Find him guilty again. They can spend this all they want. It is my firm belief, and it is my firm wish, that Sean Diddy Combs be held accountable, and for all those people saying, start wishing on someone, God won't like you. Shut the F up, 'cause God helps those that help themselves. And we are praying that justice will be served. This week, Sean Diddy Combs is not a god as much as these Glazers are on their knees, begging to even stand in his legacy, begging to even stand by this greatness.
And no longer has
They
a
have
voice who
anointed
will
him.
pursue justice
He
for
is a
her
man,
accusation.
and he will be held accountable this week.
As of the
You guys
taken
stay
against
tuned.
Diddy. No
We are going
expansion
to
of
be
the
at the jar at the
investigation.
courthouse
No
on verdict
isolation
watch.
orders. No
It's gonna be a
equipment
good
access.
time.
No
I'll try
suspension
to
of
go
attorney
live later.
communication.
Let me know what you think in the comments.